Your neighbor Jim figured out that with Metro PCS, he gets unlimited data, talk, and text for $30, period.
Babe, that color looks awesome.
Just like he figured out that shopping with his wife will buy him a night with his buddies. That's Guys Night Out, figured out. You too figure it out. Switch to Metro PCS on the fast 4G LTE T-Mobile network for only $30, period. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Plan includes first 1 gigabyte of data at up to 4G LTE speeds. See store or metropcs.com for details and terms and conditions and data management info.
Blog Talk Radio.
Live from Fort Bragg's backyard, this is the show that put the 110 Nation on the map. There is only one nation, the 110 Nation, and you're listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show, covering each and every sport across the board. There is no sport too large or too little. It's time to talk the talk. Here we go. Here's the man, the founder, and your host, Mr. CJ Sports.
I want to welcome everybody to the 110 Nation Sports Show. I am your host, Mr. CJ Sports. You can follow me at CJ Sports 1. You can follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, my personal fan page, Mr. CJ Sports, the 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Also, check out our blog site, www.the110nation, the110nationsports.com for all the latest going on here at the 110 Nation. Oh, goodness. Glad to be here on this Wednesday night hump day. Yeah. Oh, goodness. It's great. Hey, what? For it to be the middle of May here in North Carolina, it is rather nippy out. I mean, even late afternoon, you could have been in like maybe a thin long sleeve shirt, possibly a hoodie. Extremely on the cool side. It is rather cool night. Rather weird. I don't know. I enjoy it. I think it's nice. I mean, other than the fact that I've already got the shorts, the t-shirts out, and I'm bound and determined that I'm going to be shorts and t-shirts. And so I get to be a little nippy at times because I'm not dressed to the weather. I mean, who would have thought, though? I mean, we're talking like 70s, upper 70s for the highs here in the middle of May. That's not usual. But anyway, we got Shorty joining us in the studio here in a little bit. She's running a few minutes behind. She went and got dinner for everybody and dropped it off here at the 110 Nation, so she had to go home and finish getting the kids in bed and everything, and she'll make her way into the studio here briefly. So we do get to experience Shorty tonight, so definitely excited about having her on the show. Got a couple topics to jump into tonight, but I'm kind of hoping to get her on before we actually jump into those topics. I'm gonna jump around here a little bit in a different direction before she calls into the studio tonight. But got Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh NHL playoffs going on right now. They're at the end of the first. It is tied at 0. So, how does Cleveland Indians? Good God, they scored 28 runs in the first 2 games. And they're up 4-1 now, so you're looking at about 32 runs to like 6 or 7 in Cincinnati in this 3-game series so far. So, but Cleveland really put the bat down on the Cincinnati Reds so far this year. It's always a good thing. Always a good thing when watching any Cleveland team beat up on their opponents. Especially the Cincinnati Reds. Being a man from Ohio, being a man that grew up 45 minutes to an hour, well, the first 18 years of my life anyway. I like to say grow up, but honestly, I really did most of my growing up after I left home and joined the military and got in the real world. But first 18 out of my 38 years of life, I spent in a town right outside Dayton, Ohio, and about 45, probably more like an hour north of Cincinnati. About 6 hours from Cleveland. And all my family, Cincinnati Reds, Bengals. I'm the Lone Ranger here. I'm Cleveland Indians, Cleveland Browns. I can't. There's always got to be that black sheep of it. And I remember pissing off my stepmom. Like I said, I would cheer for any team but the Bengals. It didn't matter who they played. It was always cheer for the other team. And they would get so pissed, and she would get so pissed. Always got to cheer for someone else. Can't just cheer for can't just cheer for our team except when they play your team. I'm like, oh, no, I have no love for the Cincinnati Reds or the Cincinnati Bengals. And honestly, my whole thought process of this is it would be better for the state, be less of an embarrassment, and would cause the state to rise and pull for one team in each sport versus being somewhat divided into two teams. If they would just go ahead and let the Cincinnati Reds and the Cincinnati Bengals jump river and be Kentucky's problem. So that would be idealistic, in my opinion. And unfortunately, there are Cincinnati Reds and Cincinnati Bengals out there. They can't seem to find themselves a real team to cheer for. So, but yeah. For these last three games, I'm glad Cincinnati is where they're at because Cleveland has had an opportunity to really flex their muscle and look pretty good for 3 straight games. So we'll see how the rest of the season goes for the Cleveland Indians. But at least for these 3 days, the Cleveland Indians looked pretty superb. They remind us of the Indians of the late 90s, early 2000s. They started making that run and being in the playoffs all the time and made it to the World Series. Even though we choked to the Florida Marlins, but kind of so. I don't know. It's tough sometimes having a state that you got 2 teams. You got some states that got 3 teams. Honestly, I don't think there's a state big enough. Hell, I think we might even have a state that's got 4 teams in one sport. I don't honestly think there's any team out there, any state out there that's really big enough to really start having 3 and 4 teams. I don't even like 2 teams. I would want my whole state to be all in on my team. It was one of the things I was never at Cincinnati to score 2 rounds to make it 4-3, but I was never big on even just having Cleveland and Cincinnati. Why would you financially? Why would you want all of your money from the state that gets drawn in from taxes, the revenue from the merchandise sales, the revenue from the tickets? And why would you not want it all to be focused on one versus having two teams and all your efforts of putting a championship team together all on one team versus having it divided? I just never really big fan. And obviously some states it works. Well, I don't know. Have we ever really seen a state? And I'm trying to think. I'm trying to tread my waters carefully here. I'm trying to think it. Have we ever experienced a state have two or more teams that were actually all good at the same time? Like favorites. Like not, okay, yeah, you got the Cowboys and the Texans both made the playoffs. No. Like legitimate deep playoff run contention teams. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, is there been at a time in a season that you had two of them that were that kind of team? And, Tampa ran their table and went to the Super Bowl. I don't think Miami was in any conversation. I guess no, because the Giants are actually New Jersey, in which that's a whole other conversation of stupidity, in my opinion. But I was going to say the Giants and the Bills played each other in the Super Bowl, but one's New Jersey and one's New York, so that's not even the same there. So try to think if there's actually at any point, especially more so the NFL, that basketball's a little bit different. You got less teams, and I think you got teams in less states too, if I'm not mistaken. It's a little bit different there. We'll come back to this topic. We got Shorty joining us tonight in the studio. How you doing tonight, Shorty?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Fabulous.
So last night.
Last night.
Yeah, last night. How about those Cleveland Cavaliers? They managed to put the beat down on the Toronto Raptors. At one point, it was up by 40 points. They ended up winning by 31 points last night when it was all said and done. But how about those Cleveland Cavaliers? Like they made Toronto look like they just had no business even being in the playoffs, let alone the Eastern Conference Championship.
What was the score?
115 to 84.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like
they put the whole SmackDown on.
I mean, are you sure that somebody didn't just kidnap the Raptors and they made people they found people that looked like the team?
And what's even sad about it is your starting five didn't play but about half the game. Like LeBron only played 28 of the 48 minutes. Kevin Love only played 27 of the 48 minutes. Tristan Thompson 28. Kyrie Irving 30. J.R. Smith 27. Toronto's about to find themselves, and a lot of people are already starting to pull out the brooms, even non-Cleveland fans at this point. But when you got that starting five that only played about half the game and is fully rested after a 31-point beatdown in the first game, that's one. You're looking at a rested Cleveland Cavalier team still, too. The confidence of this team is only getting bigger and bigger. Cleveland right now, I honestly think that the sky's the limit at this point.
Is there anybody else coming on tonight?
No.
Fabulous. that leaves one person to save the night. That's me, by the way.
I don't know if you've seen the.
Yes.
And they're showing the monster
I
dunk
just
right now. I don't
commented
know.
on it.
No, I know what you're talking about, but they had a picture earlier today of LeBron James dunking a basketball, and he dunked it so hard that it made the ball look like it was deflated. Like it actually the ball just kind of formed around the rim. Like it was a nasty hard dunk. But yeah, the Cleveland Cavaliers had their way last night. It was definitely entertaining to see the highlights and go back and see the stat line. Not the best of games, especially when it comes to downtown for the Cleveland Cavaliers, one of the hottest teams in the NBA right now. From downtown, only shooting 7 of 20, 35%, but almost 80% from the free throw line, 55% from the field. They dominated almost every aspect. I mean, rebounding. They out-rebounded. As a matter of fact, Cleveland almost had more assists than the Toronto Raptors had rebounds. Cleveland had 22 assists. The Toronto Raptors only had 23 rebounds. At most of the game, there was more assists by the Cleveland Cavaliers than there was rebounds. And for those that want to know, this is how significant the difference is. Cleveland had 45 rebounds, almost double, one short of doubling Toronto's total rebound total last night. That's how dominant. Like I said, outside of the three-point shooting, and J.R. Smith just had one of those nights. He wasn't hot, 0 for 3. Kyrie Irving only went 1 for 3. It wasn't like anybody just missed a lot of them. It just the ones that did shoot, they just missed. There was a bunch of 0 for 1s or 1 for 2s or those kind of scenarios. Nobody really took a lot of 3-point shots in. As they only took 20. We watched J.R. Smith hit anywhere from 8 to 10 in a game. So the whole team only shot 20. Obviously, it just wasn't one of those nights, and they needed to rely on or count on that 3-point ball. But outside of the 3-point shooting, the Cleveland Cavaliers dominated every game. Now, of course, today I have some throw up. Well, Toronto's lost every first game of every series they've been in this year. Well, also I want you to remind everybody, Cleveland's also 16-0 in the last 16 games that they played in the playoffs, and they've swept the last 2 opponents. And there's a lot of things we can throw out there about the Cleveland Cavaliers due to kind of contract Toronto's lost the first game. Well, Toronto's got 3 more games. They're about to.
Sorry, I coughed and you said something funny.
Another Cleveland-related topic, and I thought this was rather interesting. It's something that is kind of what they titled it as when I saw the post earlier today, but I didn't look at it earlier today. I looked at it before the show. Something that LeBron James has probably not heard too much of as a Cleveland Cavalier. Before I jump into this, Golden State is up 16-12 over OKC right now. Of course, OKC leads the series 1-0. They stole one at the Oracle Arena the other night, but there are about
they stole one.
They stole one. They stole one. When Golden State is 37-0, when they lead at halftime by double digits, and you watch OKC come back and take one in the Oracle Arena, yeah, they stole one. We'll see if they're able to steal one tonight. Right now, the Golden State Warriors are 4 for 7 for downtown, 57%. 6 for 12 from the field at 50%. OKC, 5 of 12, just a little bit less than 42%. They are 1 for 1 from the free throw and 1 for 1 from downtown. So we'll definitely keep you guys updated on how Oklahoma does in Game 2, and can they repeat and take another one at the Oracle Arena. But something that LeBron James has probably not been told too many times, if ever, as a Cleveland Cavalier. Tyronn Lue, coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, told LeBron James to shut the F up in a Cavs huddle The narrative with LeBron James that he is his own coach and won't listen to a person hired to be the team coach. The narrative was only strengthened this season when David Blatt was fired mid-season and replaced by Tyronn Lue. It was strengthened even more when James appeared to be doing the coaching during the game in which he wasn't active. It appears this was partly accurate when Blatt was in control. In new reports by CBS Sports' Ken Berger, part of the Cavs' initial problem this season was Blatt losing control of his players. One team source told Berger that Cavs were a fractured team and they just didn't function properly. Per the report, by letting James overwhelm him in huddles during timeouts, Blatt unwittingly ceded control and demoralized the rest of the team. But not being comfortable enough to rein in James, the dynamic of the team became one of LeBron and then everybody else. They felt that they were doing this for LeBron. The person familiar with the internal workings of the team said, instead of with LeBron, Lue changed that the moment he first told LeBron James in a huddle, shut the F up. I got this, according to one person who heard the exchange and a few others like it. If Lue was going to get the stars and the role players to buy into the strategic changes he was determined to implement, play faster, space the floor, move the ball, take full advantage of Love's versatility, he was going to have to restore order first. I would have loved to been in that huddle the first time any coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, because of course, ever since day one that LeBron James has been in Cleveland, he's been like a god to them, and he kind of walks on eggshells, and you kind of let him run the show. That's why I never understood how Mike Brown was ever nominated as Coach of the Year. Yes, they had the season that they had, the record they had, but it was his coaching style was, all right, just give LeBron James the ball, and that was the extent of his game plan, and LeBron had to do it from there. But I would have loved to get in that huddle the first time Coach Lue said, shut to LeBron James like that. I think that there had to be a lot of faces that had probably a shocked or kind of look to them.
I can't imagine what was going through LeBron's mind when he was told that. His first thought was probably like, peace out, Cleveland.
Obviously, he didn't take it personal. Obviously, he took it as, okay, we finally got a coach in this organization that's going to actually coach, and I'm going to be the player, I guess. The best thing I can say on that, because, the first part of the season, yes, it was rough, and, there was a lot of scripted tweets going out by LeBron James. You didn't know if he was coming or going, or, if Kevin Love was ever going to fit into this team, and, there was even rumors at some point that Kyrie Irving wasn't happy no more. And the next thing you know, this team is hanging out in their own personal time, and this team is playing unselfish basketball, and this team is a more up-tempo team and scoring more points per game. And now we're seeing them in the playoffs playing lights-out basketball. Have yet to lose a game, 9 for 9 so far. So obviously, he didn't take it too personal and took it as an opportunity to, get this team to kind of rally around Coach Lue and do what's got to be done.
So I hope he didn't take it too personal. You never know, though. It might be it might be in the back of his mind.
I wonder when Coach Lue said that, right after he said it, like, oh my God, I don't believe I just said that to LeBron James. Or if he did think about it, when he was saying it, I wonder if he was like, God, I hope this doesn't backfire in my face, or I hope the team, I can only imagine what his thought was before, if he actually thought about it, or after. So, Mike passed passed on information a little bit earlier. I didn't get the details, but we were talking about Casey Kane yesterday and the possibility of Kevin Harvick stepping into that 5 team. NASCAR punishes Casey Kane for post-race inspection failure. NASCAR has fined the crew chief for driver Casey Kane as part of a slew of penalties levied against Hendrick Motorsports team for failing post-race inspection. Crew chief Keith Roden was fined $25,000. Kane was docked 15 points in the standing, and the number 5 team lost 15 points in the owner's standings. The number 5 Chevrolet did not meet specifications. NASCAR's laser platform post-race at Dover International Speedway. Kane finished fourth. So what do you go figure? The one time he actually had a decent race, they come to find out they weren't playing by the rules. Hendrick Motorsports will not appeal the penalty. He was cheating. We had an unintentional issue at Dover when our left and right side truck arms were bent on some point during the race. Roden said, "I'm disappointed in NASCAR's decision, but we have to accept it and focus on the upcoming races. We have a great team with a lot of positive momentum. Your only really good finish was after a race that you broke the rules. How's that momentum that we hope to carry into the summer?" I know that Casey Kane got this ordeal. I know that I saw reports as well that Earnhardt Jr. also had some issues with his post-race inspection as well. I think they caught fine. I didn't get into the details of that, but it's his third time, whatever it was his third time or whatever he got caught on. So it looks like we talked about this, that somebody's got to step up. Nobody wants to watch Joe Gibbs racing win all the time. I guess unless you're a die-hard Joe Gibbs racing fan. I'm a big Kyle Busch fan. It's Danica and Kyle Busch for me. And yet I still don't want to watch Kyle Busch win all the time. That's why I was no longer a Bourne fan. That's why I was no longer a Jimmy Johnson fan. Football's a little bit different. I could watch, the Ohio State Buckeyes go undefeated. I could watch the Cleveland Browns win every weekend. God, I can only wish. It hadn't happened since the 40s and 50s. But anyway, there's many other games. In the NFL, there's up to 15 other games. In college ball, there's 50 to 100 other games or so. So there's plenty of other games to watch. NASCAR, there's only one race on Sunday. So I don't want to watch the same driver or even the same team dominate week in and week out. So with that being said, obviously it's a critical thing for another team or two to step up in NASCAR to give Joe Gibbs Racing some competition. If not, it's going to bore the fans. And we've talked about this, and I guess this was probably Hendrick's best attempt at trying to be competitive with Joe Gibbs Racing, but unfortunately it's costing them with penalties and fines and everything else, because obviously that is the only way at this point Hendrick Motorsports can keep up, bending the rules.
Obviously. It's got to suck for them, knowing that the only way that they can even come close to being the best is to cheat.
It makes you wonder, what about a team
makes them want to cheat?
Well, no. I'm a firm believer every driver and every team cheats. And to point, it happens every race. And to my point, speed limit, 55 down pit road at the super speedway. NASCAR gives you up to gives you a leeway to 60. But technically 55 is the speeding limit. Every team goes up to 60 though. So therefore you're technically cheating because the rule is 55. Now they give you leeway just to be nice, but technically every driver cheats every time they go down pit road because they don't try to keep it at 55. They go, we have to push it up to the 60. And then of course, with the time loops and how the pit road works, they actually, should speed in and out, especially if their pit stall is in the middle or in that time loop, because they know that time loop is manipulated and they work a way around that. But every team cheats. But forget what I was even going to talk about. Good job with that, everybody. I don't think that's where he was going at.
It wasn't.
Oh,
my bad.
It makes you wonder what it is that a team does that all of a sudden they click and nobody else clicks. We watched this when NASCAR started changing the car. They went into the COT and they going in the other direction and doing the other cars. And Hendrick, they were on point. And Jimmy Johnson wins 6 championships in a row. And they have these dominant cars and winning races and everything else. And then you didn't really see a dominance, maybe a little bit the last few years out of Stuart Haas, more specifically Kevin Harvick in the finishes, but nothing really dominant, nothing like we're seeing Joe Gibbs Racing. There's not been too many races this year that Joe Gibbs Racing has not had one of their cars in victory lane. I mean, we go back a couple weeks to Brad Keselowski, and then if in order to know the next answer, how far back before we've had the next prior winner, I'd actually have to go do the research. As far back as I can remember, it's either been Kyle Busch or it's been not Denny Hamlin. He won the 500. But it's been Kenseth, it's been Carl Edwards, it's been Kyle Busch. Outside of Keselowski and I know Jimmy Johnson won a race, and I honestly, outside of that, I don't even know if I can name any other winners of this season so far. Jimmy Johnson, Brad Keselowski, and then all the Joe Gibbs Racing cars. Mike might be able to message me and tell me, who else has won a race this year, because I know he's listening and he's messaging me. He might have a better, have an answer to that. But it makes you wonder, what about a team that makes you all of a sudden you have it? Nobody else has it. Nothing. No matter what any other team does right now, and I don't even count the Brad Keselowski win, but that was Talladega, and that was that's a wild card race, so that one don't even count for me. But it makes you wonder, what about a team that all of a sudden they just have the it factor? There is nothing anybody else, any other team can do. That it seems like there's nothing that team. It's not even they're winning the Sprint Cup Series race. They're also winning the Xfinity Series races. Aaron Jones won this weekend as well, and most of the weekends have been Joe Gibbs Racing sweeps. So it really makes you wonder what it is about a team that they just find it, and that nobody else can seem to find it. How has Harvick even won a race this year? I can't even think that he's even won a race. And Mike's looking up that information, but it just makes you wonder what it is about a team that all of a sudden they find themselves invincible. This whole Joe Gibbs Racing, and the way this season has gone so far this year, it just you would just think, if it's that simple and they're able to do what they're doing, that other teams would pick up on it and be able to accomplish the same thing. And obviously they're not. And it has me scratching my head, because what's so special? What's so special about Joe Gibbs Racing this year that nobody else can figure out how to get the horsepower or the speed or strategize to a point that they are able to beat Joe Gibbs Racing? I mean, the closest we're getting is, Kyle Larson. I mean, he really, if he would have pushed the factor, he probably could have won last weekend, but he didn't. But everybody else is getting up there or getting close. They're getting docked and penalized and fined and everything else because they're bending the rules to get up there. So, I don't know. When we watched Hendrick Motorsports more than a few years ago, but when the whole COT and, it just seemed that, okay, they were ahead of everybody else. It just seems like their engineering and their teams just got the new cars quicker than everybody else. The drivers were able to feel comfortable before everybody else. It seemed like maybe they had practiced more than everybody else. I don't know. It just seems that they had grasped the handling quicker than everybody else. But now these are the same cars we've ran for a couple of years. And this downforce package, we're going on a year that we've ran this. So everybody is on the same play field. It's not like things are changing. And it just, you sit there and wonder, why is nobody else able to do what Joe Gibbs Racing is able to do? Because they are dominating the sport in every aspect of the sport.
I don't know, but they're it. They figured something out. They had to have figured a way to bend something, or not bend, not literally bend, but bend, something to make them so spectacular. I'll be right back. Right?
It also makes me wonder, okay, you want to, well, I'm not going to say you want to assume, but you sit there and think in the back of your mind, especially the anti-Joe Gibbs Racing fans, they got to be cheating. But obviously they're not, because they're passing every, post-race, post-qualifying, pre-race, pre-qualifying inspections. They got to, they got to go through. But you're kind of waiting at some point, especially as dominating as these cars have been, that you're waiting for that other shoe to fall, and all of a sudden, this is why they've been winning. They've been doing this, or they've been doing that. And I can still remember back when Michael Waltrip Racing, their first race at Daytona, and they ended up finding jet fuel or whatever in their car, and in the Michael Waltrip machine. And wow, that was, at that point, I didn't think Michael Waltrip Racing was going to survive. And then it became this great team, and then all of a sudden Richmond rolls around, and instead of using code, they put their plans out there on the radio, and that just really screwed them permanently. But
I'm back.
He's back. NASCAR.
I scared the kids.
NASCAR is implementing a few tweaks meant to improve the racing before Saturday night's $1 million All-Star event. The rule changes revealed Monday are designed to reduce downforce and side force, which in theory will slow the cars and potentially make it easier to pass. Teams will no longer be permitted to use brake cooling fans starting this weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The fans generate additional downforce. The fans will not be allowed for the rest of the season. The side force will be reduced only for the All-Star race. Drivers want these changes because they argue slower corner speeds puts a greater emphasis on talent. The All-Star is a non-points race for cash in which NASCAR has the luxury to try new ideas. I'm still kind of all tangled up on this whole, how this format of this race is going to be laid out there, but I tell you what, the All-Star race is something different. And I had an opportunity, what was it, 2 years ago? We were
Yeah.
Yeah. When I went with Tony.
Yeah.
Got the opportunity to go to the All-Star race a few years back, and that was a cool thing. I had been to the 600 a few times. I don't think I've ever been to the 500-mile race at Charlotte, but got the opportunity to do the All-Star race. It was something different, something cool. I enjoy the All-Star weekend, and a race that kind of like the boys get to be boys. You know what? If you bring it home, back it home in a piece, it better mean victory lane. If not, you better tear that thing up trying to win that $1 million. It's kind of what you get out of this weekend. And just the different formats. Now, this year's a little bit different. They tweaked it some more. And we had Mike on the show, and I think we're all still kind of confused on exactly how this is all supposed to play out. But it's different. You got 3 or 4 segments. You got, I think it was that what they're going to do is draw. I think the part that confused us was basically about half the field is going to be able to, well, not going to be able to, they're going to be mandatory to change the tires, to get 4 tires and whatever. And the rest of them are not going to be allowed. And I think that was the part that was kind of had us scratching our heads. How are you going to let half the field have brand new tires on a restart, and then the other half you're not going to? And it is in a season that tires have been pretty important. Is with this new package, that's what the purpose of this new package was, to make the tires fall off and see how talented and let these drivers actually race the race after these tires have worn off. And now you're saying that, okay, part of one of the segments is half the field's going to get brand new tires, and the other half is going to have to be out there in tires that are falling off, speed-wise and grip-wise. So, they're going to draw how many it's going to be. It's going to be 9, 10, or 11 of the drivers, and I think there's going to be like right around 20 drivers out there. So I think that part was what had us all confused, and how they are going to decide who the drivers that get the tires, who the drivers that doesn't, and what. And on top of that, I don't know why you would set yourself up for the possibility of conspiracy. Oh, well, this driver NASCAR likes, so that's why he got tires for the All-Star race, and this driver they don't like. So let Matt Kenseth not be one of those tires that is able to get tires, and people don't blame that on his act last year at Martinsville or whatever, where he wrecked Joey Logano and got the 2-race suspension. Let that be one of the drivers that is not allowed to get tires, and let's see what happens. But the All-Star race to me is a fun race to watch. It's an opportunity to kind of sit back, watch them boys be boys, and so so Harvick did win. So I was pretty much right. I asked about Harvick. It's been Johnson, Keselowski, Harvick, and all the rest of Joe Gibbs Racing this year. So out of all the races so far this season, and you figure we started back in February, so we're 3 months in? 3 months in. So you're about 10, 11 races in. I didn't even have to look that part up. But only 3 drivers have been non-Joe Gibbs Racing. So I would be shocked if this weekend it was not a Joe Gibbs Racing that wins the All-Star race. I think the only 2 drivers that would surprise me if they won that wasn't Joe Gibbs Racing would probably be Jimmy Johnson and Pacey Kane. Those have been 2 drivers, maybe even Kevin Harvick. In the first year I went and watched the All-Star race, Kevin Harvick won. I remember that race. I remember there was controversy because there should have been a caution, but they didn't throw the caution because Junior was out front, and that's what a lot of people blamed on. It was the fact that Junior was out front. He hadn't won a race, I don't think, since he'd been at Hendrick at that point in time, or it'd been a while. And I remember he came and took the white flag, and that place erupted. And I'm holding up the bird. I am beyond beside myself that that Junior's got the white flag, and the fact that they didn't throw the caution earlier and let things play out. But what was entertaining about that is after he took the white flag, Junior ran out of gas, and Harvick goes on to win the race. And when Harvick came around to take the checker flag, I'm the only one that is cheering and yelling and everything else, and everybody else has gotten real quiet. And I remember the whole way back to the car, I was doing some Ric Flair. I was like, woo! All the way back, and there was not happy people at all.
Who's Ric Flair? I'm just playing. Not a funny joke? The only reason I know who Ric Flair is because North Carolina came out with a lottery ticket when I was working at the Kangaroo. That was the Ric Flair lottery ticket.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
Yep. Huh?
So for like 2 times, I know outside of Flair is. You were breaking up. I couldn't hear you. years. How do you not know who Ric Flair is? He's the profiling, limousine riding, jet flying. His daughter is ugly as sin. She's
like it's like it's bad. Like I can barely hear you. Like you keep going in and out.
How do you know it's me? How do you know it's not you?
Because at first it was breaking up, and then it like sounded like you were super far away. It still sounds like you're super far away. And I know it wasn't me.
Then his daughter is ugly as sin. She's, I think she's the champion in women's division in wrestling, but she's a hideous looking thing.
Like it does that with your Facebook. Like when you talk to me on Facebook through voice message, it does that. Like it goes in and out. Like you can hear, like I can hear you, but like it like sounds like you're super far away, and then it comes back, and then it goes away, and then it comes back. And the reason I know it's you is because most of the time, I just play it through my phone while I'm playing it, like, and I have the headset on, so I know it's you. Yeah, it's not my speakers because I'm listening through the headset. So it's you.
Yeah, I hate the messenger. I've always hated you when you call me on the messenger. That's like the worst thing ever.
I'm not talking about calling you on the messenger. I'm talking about just talking to you in general, like through voice messages.
Voice messages on Messenger, right?
You said calling, though.
Still on Messenger. I hate it. I hate the Messenger thing. It runs more on the Wi-Fi versus the regular phone and everything else. I hate phone calls, especially on Messenger. The phone hit and it's so much of a pain in the butt. I never did see your response on. I guess I'm about to see it now.
Of course, I'd let you get that. Why wouldn't I let you get that?
Would that be one of those things that those that are listening? Someone had posted, as a matter of fact, it was Cleveland Brown fan page photo. They posted a picture of, it looks like probably a queen-size bed, maybe a twin or a full, whatever, with the Cleveland Browns comforter sets and pillow and throw pillows and pillowcases, and it's got a flag and it's got a curtain and everything else. And I shared it, and someone said that they love it. My mother, my mommy, she said that I would love it or something, or so it was so me. And I made the comment that now to see if Shorty will allow it to happen. So when you say, of course you would allow it to happen, is that one of those things that I would have to get a spare bedroom, a house with a spare bedroom, and that would be what was set up in the spare bedroom? Or could you see that being something?
Why would you think that? At one point in time, I was like, it was, I think, for your birthday, the year that I got you the pool stick, I was like looking for like a comforter set, but they were like super expensive.
Oh, they're
like $100, over $100, man.
And yes, she just let the cat out of the bag. We don't spend a lot of money on comforter sets. We're cheap. But I didn't know if it was one of those things that you would actually want in your bedroom, your grown-up bedroom, that you would want that kind of stuff on your bed, or if that was one of those things that would kind of be the spare bedroom or the guest room's comforter set, and we would have to have the grown-up, nice, fancy, flowery, or whatever comforter set. I wasn't sure. That's why I was asking.
When have I ever bought a flower comforter set?
Well, you got flowers on or leaves or something on the sheet you got now.
I got those for free from my mother. I didn't buy that. I'm not a girl.
I can't remember. What?
I mean, I'm a girl, but, you know.
You're not a girl. How do we reword this before we get a whole bunch of rumors started here?
I don't know what I want to be today. I'm not sure what I want to be today. I think I'm going to use the men's bathroom today.
Wow, there we go.
Because I'm confused about if I'm a girl.
It's 9%, or not even 9%, 9/10% of the world, or whatever that percentage was. But we're having this insane conversation and debate over.
It's dumb. You know, Target, they allow it. Like, even, like, I guess in North Carolina.
I know which don't make no sense, because North Carolina and Texas are the only two states that are not down with all this. And I applaud Texas and I applaud North Carolina. I'm proud to be in North Carolina at this point in time for not allowing our women and children to be violated like the rest of the states are allowing their women and children. It just shows no concern for women and children at all. We might as well go back to the 50s and 60s where women don't have no rights at this point. But that surprised me that in North Carolina but I seen that the boycott that people are doing on Target, and I saw it on your page. I shared it as well. People are not happy with Target right now.
And for good reason. Like, makes me angry. I'm sorry, but I don't shop at Target, and that just makes me want to not shop at Target even more. So
I think it says a lot about these two states when the federal government is talking about pulling financial supports, government's money or whatever, and they said, you know what? That's cool with us. We're still standing our ground. So
go North Carolina.
And to reply, because Mike said, I guess it would depend on what team your guests were talking about, whether or not having if I was able to have the Cleveland Comforter set, whether or not it'd be on our bed or a guest bed. He said it depends on what team your guests were fans of. A Jets fan wouldn't want a Giant bedding, etc. LOL. Well, you know what? If you're staying in my house and that's what's on the bed, it's kind of tough to look anyway. So either you can sleep on the couch, sleep on the floor, or you can sleep whatever team is on the bed and do it with a smile. So that's my thought on it. And if you're a Steeler fan, don't even worry about trying to stay at my house. It's not happening.
I think I'm going to become a Steeler fan.
You're not. OKC is keeping it close again in this game with about 5 minutes left at halftime. Golden State is up 43-39. Both of them shooting 50% from downtown. OKC 4 of 8. Golden State 6 of 12. Both of them 3 for 3 from the free throw line. I mean, almost mirror numbers. Both teams are shooting 50% from the field as well. Well, now Golden State just missed one and is now down to 49%. Total rebounds 13-14, turnovers 8-6. They're pretty much mirroring each other at this point. So the only difference is that 4 for 8 versus 6 for 12. So with Golden State making 2 more three-pointers, obviously that's the factor with it them being up by 4 points. But both these teams are very, very close statistically. So definitely going to keep our eye throughout this game. And I tell you what, I don't know how I will act if OKC is able to pull out 2 wins at the Oracle Arena. That will be something.
Yeah, I agree. That would be something.
It would.
I would definitely be eating my word to my aunt.
Well, no, not really, because, well, kind of. Yeah, no, because they'll get past Golden State, but we'll have to see what happens when they play Cleveland, but I just don't think it'll be the same results. Cleveland has got bigger bodies, and I think that's going to be a key factor, is the size of Cleveland. The Golden State Warriors don't really have athletically gifted big guys, where Tristan Thompson gets up and down the court, LeBron James gets up and down the court, Timothy Mozgov, Kevin Love. These are big, tall, big body guys that are also mobile and very athletic. You don't have that in Golden State. One, their starting lineup, Andrew Bogut's really the only big guy. He is not very athletically gifted, nor moves up and down the court very well. Draymond Green is on the smaller side. He's not a big body. Harrison Barnes is a twig, and then you got Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. And then you start bringing people off the bench. There's nobody really big, and then the couple that are good size, like Spate and Bellabosa or whatever, they're not very athletically gifted. In other words, they don't go up and down the court fast. I think that this Cleveland team will be able to match up with OKC much better than Golden State at this point. Because Golden State or OKC, they're athletic. Now they'll get up and down the court. Even Serge Ibaka, as big as he is able to get him down the court. But more specifically, Durant and Westbrook, I can only imagine how much those two are running Golden State thin with all the athletic, all the running around and all the cardio that they're just used to doing. But I think that Cleveland, they're just going to match up better because they have these big bodies and they are very deep and they're and I think it's another big difference between Golden State and Cleveland is not only you have a strong starting five for Cleveland, but athletically getting up and down the court, their bench is just as deep and well deeper than Golden State, but just as good. And you got a lot of players that have come off that. Taking myself, the last big guy Warriors had was Joe Barry Carroll. But you got some players that are coming off the bench. Dylan Dovick could be a starter on another team if he really wanted to go somewhere else. Amon Shumpert, he was a starter with New York before he came over there. Channing Frye, I don't know if he'd necessarily be a starter anywhere else because of his age, but he's been a starter and probably could be on the right team. You got a couple others, Timothy Mozgov. He was a starter somewhere else in Denver before he came to Cleveland. They got some players that anywhere else that could possibly be a starter. So I like the possibilities. But then again, I like the possibilities against Golden State, knowing that they can't contend with our big guys, and now we're a more up-tempo team, and the fully staffed. So I'm kind of mixed emotions where I want to go and who I want to play, because I know the possibilities against Golden State, but I also like the possibilities against OKC.
Oh, I'm not sure. I want the rematch, but I also want to be able to go toe to toe with my aunt.
I want a rematch because I want to see a slugfest, and I want to say we beat Golden State. But also at the same time, I would like to play OKC to say, just so I know that the possibilities of winning the championship just decrease by that much more. So I know it's not a guaranteed thing, but I like the possibilities against OKC more than I do against Golden State. And if this game keeps going in the direction it's going to end up being OKC. This game's almost tied up with about 2 minutes left in the second. Golden State's up 45-44 as OKC is actually doing better now at this point in almost every aspect of the game. 49% versus 43% from the field, 45% versus 40% from downtown. Both of them are still at a lock at 3 for 3 on the free throw line. But yes, this OKC team, I think it's more at this point that they are OKC just wants it more. I don't think that they're more a better team. I don't think that they're better athletically gifted. I think Westbrook and Kevin Durant are probably more athletically gifted than anybody on Golden State. I wouldn't say more talented. I'm sorry, but I still think Steph Curry is probably the best player in the NBA right now. And Toronto, I think that was another part where they screwed up. You didn't directly come out and say it, but you kind of had an underlying meaning. And when you said that LeBron James is probably the best player in the NBA behind Steph Curry, you don't. I don't understand, and this is what killed me about the first series when they played Detroit, and the Detroit players talking all that garbage, talking about, well, LeBron James don't talk garbage unless he's up winning the game. That's when you talk garbage. When you took care of business, that's when you have the right to talk garbage. Up until that point, you have no right to talk garbage. All it is garbage. At least, if you're up and you're killing the other team, you've done proving what you have to prove. So now you can talk whatever garbage you want to talk because you done put it on the court. And Toronto, you fell into the same trap there. You don't talk about LeBron James, one of the best players in the NBA, probably number 2, arguably could be number 1, but even being a Cleveland Cavalier fan and a LeBron fan, I could probably feel comfortable saying he's probably the second best player in the NBA right now. You just don't do that. You don't give him motivation and more of a reason to make a point against your team.
You're right. You're right.
I've never understood what people think trash talking is going to accomplish other than just making that other player want to be that much more focused and dialed into the task at hand. I don't get it. Like, it has never made sense to me. Why are you going to talk garbage and piss that player off and make him want to come out and make a point against your team? Especially when you know that player is better than any other player on your team. That you don't even have anybody in the same they don't even have anybody in the same conversation in almost all the starters on that team. They don't have anybody in the conversation when it comes to 3 points with J.R. Smith. They don't have anybody in the conversation with Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, Tristan Thompson, or LeBron James. So to attack any of them really makes no sense, but more specifically, probably the number 2 player in the NBA right now, definitely do not want to talk the garbage and just give them that much more of a reason to rally and unite and be all in. And you saw last night, we watched Cleveland go up by about 40 points, win by 31. The starter only played half the game. That kind of proves that whole logic of thinking never works out. Usain Bolt called it really bad news for the sport after the announcement that 31 athletes were caught doping in retests from the 2008 Beijing Olympics. It's rough. It's rough in the sport. The Jamaicans, excuse me, Grace said Wednesday, something that's been tarnishing the sport for years, and yet you're one of them that failed at that. Bolt was speaking a day after the International Olympic Committee announced that the 31 athletes could be banned for competing in the Rio de Janeiro Games. He said the World Anti-Doping Agency and others are doing a very good job of cleaning up the sport. They've proven that anybody who has cheated, they're going to catch. Bolt will run in the 100 meters at the Golden Spike meet in eastern Czech city of Ostravia on Friday, his first race in Europe ahead of the Rio Games. He said he believed that the crackdown on doping could prove successful. Hopefully we can take steps forward in making the sport better in the upcoming years. We won't have these promised goals set, but I think it's a process. I think over time we will get better because they're doing such a good job. That's a pretty big issue. At what point do all these sports just give up and give in and say, you know what? If you want to take that kind of risk with your body, and honestly, you know, doing HGH or doing tests or doing steroids is really not that much more strain than most of the stuff you can get on the counter or get at a mom and pop supplement place or get at your GNCs or whatever. You know, it's all about, you know, following the instructions, not abusing it, cycling on and off like you're supposed to, take pre-cycle, post-cycle stuff. It's really what it all boils down to. Any of them can cause, as a matter of fact, you know, about 6 years ago at this point, I want to say, and I might be able to tell you exactly how long ago. I don't know if I still have my other ID. Yeah, so I get a little bit of an idea here. 2008, so actually it's been about 8 years. It was one of the times, and matter of fact, that's when I last actually professionally competed in a bench press competition. I was taking two different supplements that you could get over the counter. One of them was called Trend, and one of them was called Mass Tabs. And, you know, they were the legal forms. I know there's a much stronger form of Trend that's injected that's considered an antibiotic steroid. But the other ones, what they were was basically a molecule or two away from being classified as a steroid, but you could get it in the GNC. That's where I got them from. I know I got the Mass Tabs from GNC. The Trend, I want to say I probably got that from, the Mass Tabs I got from Gold's Gym. The Trend I probably got either from a mom and pop supplement place or maybe even GNC. But up until that point, you know, I dabbled around with supplements, took protein, creatine, pre-workout stuff, and, you know, I had taken that. I know that wasn't my first cycle of Mass Tabs. It was probably my first cycle and probably the only cycle of Trend. It was unfortunate after that, both of them ended up getting banned at some point after that before I got more bottles of it. It was just one of those things, like I said, it was only a molecule or two away from being considered a steroid, but it wasn't at the time, and for one reason or another, they ended up pulling them. I just think people weren't taking them right. I never had no issues out of them. And, you know, once upon a time, I had two IDs that were about 6 months apart, and I think that's about really the only time, really the only time. There's been a couple other times that people have asked me or accused me of being on something, but that point in time was about the only time I was, like, on a daily basis accused of being on Roy. And if you look at my picture, and matter of fact, it wasn't even 6 months, it was 4 months, I had one license taken in October, then I had to redo it again because it was outside of so many days, and my new one expired, and I got sucked into having to buy two IDs within 4 months. But my head looked like it grew like twice the size. Like, it was just ridiculous. And the only thing I was on was the Mass Tabs, the Trend, and, of course, I was taking protein. I was taking a lot of protein. I had a connection with Gold Gym. I was going there, and one, we had a trade-off, so, and they led me there. So I constantly got shirts, towels. But I would buy protein drinks like they were going out of style. I would probably buy 4 to 6 protein drinks from them alone a day. I'd have drivers go over buy 2 to 4 at a time. So let me take it back. It was probably 8 to 10 protein drinks a day, just from them alone, not anything else, protein bars or any other protein drinks I was making in the house or anything else, just from them alone. They would charge me less, but then by the time I got done tipping them, it almost balanced out to where it was at anyway. But that was for the most part all I was taking. At that point, this is probably the only time that anything was really harsh on my body. Because what ended up happening is I was taking both of them, and I didn't do my research. And this is why I blew up, and this is why people were asking so many questions. I was only supposed to take one. It was one of the things that you were supposed to take one, and then you were supposed to cycle off. Take for 4 weeks, cycle off 4 weeks, take for 4. And it wasn't one of those things that you do one, do the other. And what I did, which you sure now weren't supposed to do, I took both of them every day. Like for a whole 4-week cycle, I took both of them at the same time. I popped one, or popped both of them out and took them. It was one of those things like, bump it, I'm gonna get big. And at that point in time, I had a full head of hair, and to the point that I actually had to brush my hair back, put my hat on every day when I went to work. And I'd always had super thick hair. I'd always had a full head of hair. Now, for those that know me now, I hardly ever have my hair long at all. Like, it gets to be about a half inch. I cut it because it just thinned out so bad on the top. And I honestly believe because I took the supplements the way I did and didn't take it the way I was supposed to take it, it was because at that point in time I can remember looking back on it where, I would take my hat off and I would see a bunch of hair in my hat. I just assumed because it was long and I just never used to have long hair. And I'd seen other people, when they had long hair, they'd have hair fall out. And, I'd live with females and, even Shorty does the same thing. You go in the bathroom, there's hair all up on the bathroom wall where, they get it and loop it up and then just put it up on the wall so it doesn't go down the drain. So, it was kind of one of those things I just what I thought, never gave much thought about it. But looking back on it, that's about the time frame that it started to thin out to the point, like I said, now, if I get to be about a half inch long, maybe at most, maybe 3/8 of an inch long, it's really thin on top. So I keep it really, really short at this point. I'm not one of those that believes in the comb over stuff, and if it gets to the point that it gets worse, then it'll be shaved. I really just I don't do the comb over stuff, and I really just don't care. It's just hair to me. That is what it is. But I took those risks. I didn't do my research, and I should have. And these being athletes, obviously they need to do their research and, especially, how it affects them and what they need to be taking, especially if they want to take stuff while they're playing their sport. So I guess, I can understand, taking this stuff because I've, for most of my life, I take it, well, I'm not saying most of my life, but most of the time that I was in the gym, I took some kind of supplement, like that, most of it always being over the counter. Some stuff I get from other people or this, that, and the other, but, almost everything you could get was, at one point in time on the shelf. So at what point do these governing bodies, the MLBs and the NFLs and the NBAs and the NHLs and the Olympic Committee, at what point do you say, you know what, bump it? Well, we're tired of testing for this. We're tired of having to go through all this process. You guys do what you want to do. If you want to use and abuse your body, then use and abuse your body. If you want to take the stuff and use it properly, then use it and use it properly. If you don't want to do it, if that's something that you don't feel that you need, or your regimen, your eating habits, your whatever you do already is good enough, then okay. But one, do you think there'll ever be a point that they say, and at what point, if so, at what point do they say, you know what, enough's enough, we're stop testing for it, you guys do what you want to do?
They're never going to They're never just going to say, you do what you want to do. Because they have to be able to control something.
Should they be babysitting them every day of their life, or
they shouldn't have to. I'm sorry. I don't have a problem with people taking steroids. I don't really care. It's not my business. But when you're getting paid millions of dollars to do something, you should be doing it without any help. And the first time you get caught doing steroids, bye. That's what they need to do. They need to make examples out of people, and then people will finally learn. It's okay, this is only your first time, or, yeah, this is your second time, slap you on the wrist, give you a little fine. No. Bye. Pick them out, and they will learn. Just saying,
I don't know. I agree, but I don't agree. I don't know if the first time I would say you're gone, but what I would say is, okay, the first time you're done for a minimum of what is equivalent to half the season or equivalent to at least one season. Then if you come back the second time, you're suspended for what is equivalent to a season or 3 seasons or whatever. Third time, okay, you're permanently done. Because we give second chances to those that get caught with weed, or get caught DUI, or get caught doing this or that and the other. So I don't want to feel, or I don't feel that maybe one time and done. Even though I like that process and that thought, but then if you do that for that, then I think you should do, okay, if you're caught doing illegal drugs, then you should be done at that point as well. Because, that is what that is. So as much as I like that, I think I would like it, okay, first time, you're done. You're done for what equivalent is to 1 season. Second time we bust you, you're done for what is equivalent to 3 full seasons. Third time you're done from the sport period. Or even, okay, the first time you're banned for what's equivalent to 3 seasons, and the second time you're done for what's permanent. Even that's fine. I want to at least be able to give somebody a second chance. You screwed up or didn't know what was in it. Now you really got to pay attention to what you put in your body, kind of scenario. I just don't want to just automatically throw someone underneath the bus that first time. Sometimes you just don't know, and sometimes certain things just come up hot that you wouldn't expect to come up hot when it comes to testing for PEDs. So, as much as I like your thoughts, I want to give them at least one chance. If not, like I said, 1, 3 and done, or 3 and done. Either way, I at least want to give them at least one more opportunity.
No. I don't agree.
Just imagine how empty baseball would be if they went ahead and eliminated everybody that ever got hot, came up positive for PEDs. I don't even know if we would have full rosters in the Major League Baseball.
Yeah, you would, because people would learn.
They ain't learning now. We got players that have been suspended for full seasons, but we're still in the first 4 weeks of baseball, there was already 4 players suspended for 80 games or something like that. It was like 1 a week. They still ain't learning. In 80 games, I know that's not a band or a full season, but 80 games, that's half the season.
They're not learning. Nobody's teaching them anything. They're just slapping them on the wrist. Yes, they're banned, but for half a season. So what? It's a half a season. They get a freaking vacation. I feel like if you are dumb enough to, run the risk of putting something that you don't know, you don't know what it is in your body.
Oh, sorry. Somebody fake blog site posted Report, Tony Roma arrested in North Carolina for using men's bathroom. I couldn't help but to laugh on that one.
Funny crap. I probably laughed a little harder than I should have, but...
That's some funny stuff. That's funny stuff.
I'm starving.
You're starving. Why didn't you get something to eat while you was out getting food?
Well, I wasn't hungry. And I was fat today. I ate a waffle, cheeseburger. Granted, I had the waffle for breakfast and a cheeseburger right before I left work. But that's still a lot more food than I normally eat in a day.
Yeah, it sounds like the Waffle House is going to thicken you on up.
You mean thicken me back up? Hey, then I can go to Dino's. Crap, he's going to mess up my game. Anyways, then I can go to Dino's and be like, look, Greg, I'm not on. I'm not on Coke.
I was going to say, got off the Coke.
Greg, I got off the Coke.
Hey, what am I feeling? The new Ghostbuster trailer, or the new Ghostbuster movie. I'm been a fan of the Ghostbusters, growing up watching the Ghostbusters, but this new Ghostbuster movie, especially with it being all lady, I don't know, I'm just not feeling the whole new Ghostbusters. Not every
all lady.
Yeah, the Ghostbusters are girls now this time. What's her son? McCarthy, the chick that played in Identity Theft and Mike and Molly. She's one of them. But not every movie and every TV show needs to be redone. For those out there listening that are part of the movie and the TV industry, the entertainment industry, not every movie needs to be redone. Not every Johnny Depp. You could have left Willy Wonka alone. You could have left whatever Alice in Wonderland alone as well. Not every movie and every show needs to be redone. And no. Some things are left better just as original, or their market history.
You said, oh, I don't know. I like both the Willy Wonka movies. I like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which is the one you talked about, they remade. Like, that's the new one. I mean, you don't really like Johnny Depp, so.
No. I have no desire to ever watch a Johnny Depp movie. The few that I have watched that I recall, the only one I've actually ever watched, and it was when I was little, was Edward Scissorhand, that I probably actually liked. Any other movie that Johnny Depp's had that I've watched, I have either walked out on, stopped watching it, or fell asleep in. To include Pirates of the Caribbean, I fell asleep in the first one. I refused to watch the rest of them. If I couldn't make it through the first one, I wasn't going to watch the rest of them. Mike messages talk about going sequel crazy. A sequel that I might like to see, and give me your opinion on this, Mike, and you give me your opinion as well. I don't know if you ever watched the first one, or the only one. I say the first one. Days of Thunder. I know Steve Billmeyer helped, had a lot of insight and a lot of input into that movie. But watching that movie and how unrealistic it really, honestly, truly is, and how you just weaves in and out of traffic. And I'm sorry, but I've never seen a race car driver come out and have his face black from whatever they just assume that his face is black for. Would we want to see a Days of Thunder 2, but it'd be a movie that's a lot more realistic. A movie that, something similar, something similar, obviously, to the original Days of Thunder, but something a lot more realistic to what actually goes on with racing and the actual possibilities versus watching some rookie get in there and by partway into the season on and that's another part that's unrealistic is, you go to a team that's a single car underfunded team, and then all of a sudden you become one of the most dominant cars or, teams until you get in the wreck or whatever. Would we want to see a current 2016 or 2017 version of Days of Thunder, but it'd be realistic? Did you ever watch Days of Thunder?
No.
We gotta make that happen. I think. Well, have it on DVD? I think I have it on DVD. We gotta make that happen.
I've gone through all your I've gone through all your DVDs and watched all the ones that I wanted to watch.
Steve Billmeyer helped make that. The input of that movie, or the input of that movie, or that movie itself. And I got what you said, but my favorite part is when he talks about go hit the pace car, and that part kills me every time.
Playing Steve.
But I think I could go. What sporting movies have you watched?
Football.
Which movie?
Oh, I thought you said which sport sport movies have I watched? I thought you meant sport.
I know you watched Draft Day. Have you ever watched Remember the Titans? I love that movie. You ever watch Rudy?
Yeah. Wait. I think I watched it with you.
No, we ain't never watched Rudy. I've only watched Rudy probably once, maybe twice in my lifetime, and that was when I was way younger. Major League Baseball. Have you ever watched that?
Nope. Never really even watched Major League Baseball.
We got to get you on some movies, on some sport movies. Major League Baseball. Talk about the Cleveland Indians and the Unas. Remember the Titans. Definitely love that movie. Definitely got to.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites.
I love. And it's funny because originally the reason I even watched it. Why am I going to say watched it at first? The reason I even put it in was because it was a PG. I don't want to say it's PG movie. It might be PG-13. But
the only reason you put it in is because you watched you guys kiss.
Oh, sunshine! But I put it on while I was working. I was working the video hut at the time, and we had to play music there, play videos that were kid appropriate. So that was kind of why I put it in there. But after listening to it the first time and hearing the soundtrack, that was one of those movies that I played regularly just because of the soundtrack. And I got an opportunity to see different parts of it to where I eventually saw the whole movie over time of watching it over and over at work. And I own it now. It's one of my favorite football movies of all time. But,
guys, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to cut this show short, about 30 minutes. So Mr. CJ can get his butt over here so I can get something to eat.
Can't believe you didn't get no food while you was out.
I can't believe you're saying you can't believe that I didn't get any food while I was out. I'm just playing, though. But I think I'm going to go so I can get something to eat.
All right.
And get ready for bed so I can get up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
We both know you don't get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm the only one who's got to get up at 4-something in the morning.
Yep. Not me. Not I.
All right. You have a great night. And you're still awake after the show, I'll talk to you after the show.
Are you coming over here right after?
Yeah, I told you I'd come over there. I know you'd already probably be asleep by the time I got over there. I might bring me a sports movie and watch me a little Days of Thunder or Remember the Titans or something. I ain't decided at this point.
Don't watch Days of Thunder because then you're not going to want to watch it later on Friday.
I can always watch some Days of Thunder.
All right, well, bring it over and we'll watch it Friday.
All right, I got people. I know once, tell my age a little bit. I know once upon a time on VHS, I can't remember if I actually have it on DVD or not.
Why does it show your age? Why does that show your age? I had VCR tapes up until my adopted parents probably still have VHS. Like,
but how old was you when you stopped watching VHS?
Teenager, maybe like very early teens, but.
Okay. And I was at least mid to late 20s and still had VHS.
Okay,
tapes.
I understand this. We're 13 years apart.
You're right. That's why I should age.
When you were 26,
I grew up in the era
I was 13, and I was literally half your age.
Yes, we've had this conversation. We also had the conversation of the fact that you were going into kindergarten and I was graduating high school at the same time. So.
No, I know. I was just saying, like, I was literally half your age when you were 26. 13.
Golden State's up 64-53 with about 8.5 minutes left in the third for those that are wanting an update.
What is it? What's
64-53, Golden State up by 11 points.
Yeah. I don't like that score.
Well, you like the score a little bit better. 64-55. Now it's a 9-point lead.
Well,
just that quick.
Even better.
Oop, there it is. Back to you.
I still don't like that score. Has it changed?
No.
All right, well. I will see you in a little while.
When you get there. Tell me when you get there.
No. Is that even a song? Or are you just singing random words?
When I get there. Yeah.
Alrighty then.
All right.
I've never heard that song. I
could probably name a bunch of songs that
I've never heard of?
Yeah.
You know a song I have heard of that people used to sing to me when I worked at Dino's? By people, I mean Greg and his brother Steve. They used to sing the song Short People. You know what song I'm talking about?
No.
They go, short people got no reason to live. Look it up. I don't know the rest of it. That's all I know. They used to sing it to me, though. They used to make me cry. They're like, you don't think I should be alive? Why would you say something like that? I'm a very, resourceful, short person, though. I've been short my whole life.
You're a very short person?
No, I said a very resourceful short person. I'll climb on stuff just to get, I'm a ninja. Without, the fighting part. I'm a pacifist.
I'm getting the message, it's Randy Newman, Short People. Must be the actual artist song, the Randy Newman.
Yeah, see? Mike knows what I'm talking about.
Mike, do you know a lot of short people? Is that why you happen to know the short people song?
No, it's just a lot of people know that song.
Maybe we need to play that song when we bring you on the show. We'll do my
no,
show
you
intro.
don't. That's mean. It pretty much tells me to go die. Do you want me to go die? Did you die? The Hangover. Anyways, I'm leaving. Off the phone, off the show, so I can feed my starving self.
Well, you do that. Took a lot of heat, Shorty.
So what?
That he took a lot of heat from people like Shorty.
Who did? The singer of that song?
I guess so. That's what he was saying when it first came out. So yeah, I'm assuming.
Oh, I'm sure it's discriminating. People, if that song came out today, I can guarantee that there would be millions of
matter.
Exactly. There would be not millions. There'd be thousands of midgets lining the streets with little toothpick signs. They wouldn't have ticket signs because, they're little.
How are you any better? I'm about 2 feet.
Look, okay.
Really?
Listen, I am 5 inches above being a midget. Bite me.
The funny thing is,
you are 0 inches above being an a-hole, which means
the funny thing is, I could bite you on the top of your head.
The funny thing is, never mind.
I like short people.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
I do. I like the fact that you have small hands. Makes me feel proud about myself. Oh goodness.
PG.
I remember one time I was at Pirate on Manchester Road here in Spring Lake. For those that are not familiar.
I don't think I want to know about this, but continue.
They had both floors open, the top floor and the bottom floor. And I remember being up on the top floor. I don't remember who the guy was. It was somebody we knew, and I don't even remember the whole conversation or how the conversation got brought up, but they were short. The little people of America were protesting at his concert. But I remember somehow the conversation led to him talking about he had kept himself shaved because with he had no hair down there, and it made things look bigger. So he always kept it. He needed all the help he could get, or something of that nature. So that's what I always think about when I talk about the fact that you have small hands.
Do you always think about him? You always think about him and his size?
His comment.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't put words in my mouth.
Are you sure that you don't need to go to Target?
Positive.
Fine.
Yes. Let the truth be told, Mr. C.J. Sports likes his ladies with smaller hands.
All right.
Talk to you later.
That's enough. That's enough revealing for one night. Toodle-doo. Toodle. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Muted.
Well, it's gotta refresh before I can mute you.
It didn't even tell me that you muted me last night when Kayla came on. I was like, hello. You didn't. No. That was when Enzo came on. I was like, hello. You didn't mute me, and then.
How's Because I didn't mute you when Kayla was on. I let you be in the studio.
Oh, I muted myself. And then I hung up. Because I couldn't check.
Then you... That one last night. That was Monday night that you called. You stayed on, you fell asleep.
Yep.
That's some dedication right there to the show. You come on to the show for an hour, then, well, I don't know if I say dedication. I don't really know how to take that. I know that you fell asleep listening to the show, so it makes me wonder, did I put you to sleep, or did you just want to...
No, I was...
You fell asleep.
I was already... I honestly didn't even mean to fall asleep, but, like, I was super tired, and I knew that if I laid down, I was going to fall asleep, and I did it anyway. I didn't want to go to sleep, but...
When I got to Shorty's house, she still had her contacts in. She was still fully dressed. She was laying just in the bed. There was stuff everywhere. The lights were on. And I was like, wow, well...
I was not fully dressed.
Yeah, you still had your clothes on. Whatever clothes you had on.
You're never fully dressed without a smile.
What is that, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood?
No, Annie.
The little orphan kid?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I ain't never watched Orphan Annie or whatever it's called.
Why?
Never had an interest in it. Why would I want to watch a show about the orphan kid?
I was technically an orphan kid. That's not very nice.
Or an orphan kid.
I wasn't... Okay.
Adopted by somebody doesn't mean you were an orphan.
Yes.
Don't mean you were adopted.
No, I lived in a group home.
I know that.
Well, now you do. I also ran away from that group home. It's actually ironic because, like, this group home was supposed to be like, it wasn't just like a group home. It was like a group home for, like, troubled children. And, like, they're supposed to have this, like, super tight security. And I walked right out the front door. I bounced. But peace out. But anyways, enough talk. I'm starving, so.
Gotcha.
See you later.
Bye.
See you later.
Now she heard it. Now she heard she was muted. Gotta make sure that thank Snafu Seasoning. You can check them out at snafuseasoning.com. That's SNAFU Seasoning. I love saying that. SNAFU Seasoning.com. The official sponsor of Racing with Big Sweat, Thursday night shifts, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Make sure you check them out. Also, got to thank Fit for Life. You check them out on Facebook, Fit for Life. Check them out, www.fitforlife.com. 367, wow, I was going to say 367. 365, 24/7. I guess if I just said 24/7, 365, that would have made a little more sense. And for those that are curious and want an update, now the game's starting to get out of hand, as we got about 4 minutes left in the third, and Golden State's almost up by 20 points at this point. So it looks like Golden State's going to take care of business tonight. Even though we got a whole other quarter, it ain't over yet, but it looks like it's just starting to go into that direction, as Golden State's 10 for 21 from downtown, 12 for 14 from the free throw line, 48% from the field. Just really now it's, they made one of two. They're going to make another free throws, and it'll be a 20-point lead at this point. But got to thank 24/7. There you go, 365. Check out Fit for Life for all your gymming needs. Don't forget Friday nights we got Hot Laps with Stats 8 p.m. Make sure you check that out. Mike's got a really good show planned for you guys Friday nights. Make sure you guys tune into that. Don't forget, new schedule. We've got the 110 Nation Sports Show Monday through Friday. Monday through Wednesday, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Racing with Big Sweat, 9 p.m. on Thursday. Hot Laps with Stats, 8 p.m. on Fridays, and the happy hour grind noon on Saturdays. So make sure you guys check that out. Also, check us out on Twitter. You can follow me at CJSports1. You can follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Also, check us out on Facebook, my personal fan page, Mr. CJ Sports, the 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. And don't forget our blog site, www.the110nationsports.com, for all the latest going on here at the 110 Nation. What do we have going on here? I want to throw this out there for... Looks like Kurt Schilling did not want to get into the debate with Stephen A. Smith. Kurt Schilling calls Stephen A. Smith racist, rejects debate invite. I am not, by any stretch of the imagination, a fan of the garbage, also known as First Take on ESPN. And I think it's really an embarrassment to ESPN that you allowed this horrific show to go on as long as you let it go on. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say anything good about that show. Off that popcorn sports fans, because the debate of the century isn't going to happen. Former ESPN employee Kurt Schilling declined Stephen A. Smith's invitation to engage in a war of words, saying, among other things, that he doesn't respect Smith. In an interview with WEEI's Dennis and Callahan, Schilling turned down Smith's challenge, saying he has no respect for Smith. Schilling also added that he believes his former colleague is a racist and a bigot. That's not the first time, and he's one of many that have said that. I think a lot of people are still in shock and awe that Stephen A. Smith, after using racial slurs on national TV, that he still had a job, especially how they let others go for saying stuff off the air or saying stuff that wasn't as disrespectful. Here's the relevant portion of Schilling's interview, which has been transcribed by Awful Announcing. What I'm going to debate about, I have no interest, Schilling said. I'm 49 years old. I have had cancer. I've had a heart attack. I'm losing my hair. I'm not going to waste my time with people I don't respect. I don't respect him. I don't respect him. I think he's a racist. I think he's a bigot. Schilling added of Smith, there's nothing to debate, number one. And number two, there's not a chance in hell that I would do anything that would bring that station another viewer ever. Smith issued the challenge during the interview on Sirius XM's on the Mad Dog radio show. Smith called out Schilling for bashing ESPN after he was fired by the company for posting a transphobic meme on his Facebook page. He said the former pitcher wasn't fired for having conservative views, but because he refused to listen to his bosses. Schilling has said he believes his political affiliation played a role in his firing. Smith did not pull any punches with his criticism of Schilling, but he also didn't get personal. Schilling came out and called Smith a racist and a bigot. Those are some awfully big allegations that shouldn't be made lightly. They shouldn't be made lightly. Those are some pretty big allegations. But when almost everybody that's ever watched First Take or watched Stephen A. Smith in an extended period of time, they have all had the same assumptions and the same conclusions about Stephen A. Smith. So it's, as big as that is, honestly, it's not that big of a deal because everybody gets the same picture when they start painting on that canvas of Stephen A. Smith. So really not a big surprise. And like I said, I think really the only surprise is the fact that they still have a show and that ESPN, and obviously that's part of why their ratings just continue to plummet is garbage like that. So. Oh, goodness. I think it's funny that mean, don't get me wrong, we've kind of had our own little beef when it comes to other radio stations and whatnot. I was falsely accused of being racist and being my sexual preference being other than hetero, and there was a lot of things thrown out about us, and me specifically here at the Tent Nation, by a group that I don't even think they even exist anymore. That tells you how really relevant this group was, and more specifically Nick Piccarelli. He was a joke and a clown and a half, but he was more described as a snake in the grass and would kind of clamp on people and really would try to recruit, but what he ended up doing was killing products. And, he ended up killing the show we had at the time. He ended up hurting a couple other shows. Like, anything he got his hand on, he just really caused destruction. And they didn't like the fact that we decided to go in a different direction, that we weren't going to be part of that whole fiasco and fiesta or whatever you want to, however you want to call it, and was not a big fan of Mr. TJ Sports. Come to find out, yeah. So I've been part of that. That's why I have anybody that's been affiliated with that whole organization, present, past, otherwise, I think that they ended up going under. I don't think that they made it very long. None of them were really dedicated and loyal. It was more of just the idea. But that group was full of people that loved the idea of having basically what we have, but they didn't want to do the work. And, it's kind of what killed our relationship with them and the Go Radio Network was, everybody here on the 110 side, we was about all of it, plus we was about doing the work. And that was kind of why we formed the partnership and the corporation. Was we were supposed to bring more bodies on, so it was less work. The only thing that ended up happening is we took on more work under the impression that we was going to have more bodies there, more help. And what happened is we took on more work, and nobody else on that side participated or did the work. So we just had more work with the same amount of people that we originally had. So we decided we were going to, there's a lot of people that just don't like me. A lot of people out there. And there's a reason why I keep a close-knit group of people up. But, that didn't last very long. It was only a few weeks long, that whole corporation and that whole deal worked. We learned very, very quickly that we walked into a trap. We walked into, hey, let's take on more work. There's more of us. Joke's on you, Mr. DJ Sports. You and Ms. Jules are going to still do all the work. Work is going to up the workload for you guys. And, yeah, they didn't like it when they got all these people hopes up and made all these plans, and we decided we weren't doing all the work. And that's basically what their organization was about. And I put in just as many hours, if not more than anybody else, and I have done, said many times that when we make it into a building and we're on 24/7 and we have our staff, I am still doing shows. That's just me. I am not going to have a bunch of people come on and do all the work and me just sit here. That's just not who I am. I have worked hard for the first 5 years, and I plan on working just as hard as long as there's a company and as long as we're doing what we're doing, and that's just the way it's going to be. So, but we've had our own little scuffle, so it's funny listening to different shows beef back and forth, former employees and current employees of different shows and networks and this, that, and the other. So always entertaining. Oh, well, about that time of night. Glad I had an opportunity. I got to make sure that I thank Shorty for coming on this week. I got to thank Mike for coming on this week. Kayla Lyons, our guest this week. Izzo, our NHL expert. Got to thank all those that joined and participated in the shows this week. Don't forget, like I said, tomorrow night, Racing with Big Sweat, 9 p.m. Thursday night. Friday night, 8 p.m., Hot Laps with Stats. Saturday, noon, Happy Hour Garage. Make sure you guys don't miss those shows. Make sure you guys continue to spread the word. I'm thankful for everybody that's been hanging out, checking out the shows, listening, continuing to grow. I'm still growing every day, so got to be thankful for that. Our followers on Spreaker and Blog Talk Radio keep continuing to grow. Our Facebook continues to grow. Twitter keeps continuing to grow. The listens keep continuing to grow, so I got to thank everybody for making that possible, and just keep spreading the word, help us out as we continue to grow. Like I said, back here tomorrow night, Racing with Big Sweat, 9 p.m. Until then, you guys have a great one.
Thanks for listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show with Mr. CJ Sports. You are a part of the 110 Nation, so be sure to visit the110nation.com for everything related to the show. You can follow CJ on Twitter at 110Nation and on Facebook at 110 Nation Sports. Until next time.
Your neighbor Jim figured out that with Metro PCS, he gets unlimited data, talk, and text for $30, period.
Babe, that color looks awesome.
Just like he figured out that shopping with his wife will buy him a night with his buddies. That's Guys Night Out, figured out. You too figure it out. Switch to Metro PCS on the fast 4G LTE T-Mobile network for only $30, period. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Plan includes first 1 gigabyte of data at up to 4G LTE speeds. See store or metropcs.com for details and terms and conditions and data management info.